Yeah, with me as well. You've had a few more minutes, Lee, to digest what's happened there. What will Mikel Arteta be saying now? Because again, it feels like a really important team talk, doesn't it?
It's very difficult after a game like that for him to calm his emotions down, and it'd be easy for him to run off with it and go, say too much after a game. I think his coaches, if he's got, he's an inexperienced manager himself. We have to remember that he's only been in the job 5 minutes, and all of a sudden we're expecting him to behave in the perfect way, like an experienced manager like Wenger would or Ferguson. And so he's got to kind of just calm himself down a bit before he talks to his players. But he'll be certainly saying, look, it's still in our hands. If we get a win against City and we win our games. And he'll be saying to them, whether the players believe it or not, he'll be saying City are not, they're not going to win every game. They might slip up. We've just slipped up 3 games on the trot. They'll look back at these 3 draws and go that they've just had and go 2 of them. The Liverpool game, they'd have took a draw before the game. But the other 2 against West Ham being 2-0 up there and then bringing this game back to 3-3, they'll think we should have got over the line. But they give the ball away too much tonight. As simple as that. And that's a nerves thing. That's simple, the occasion, because they haven't given the ball away all season, really, apart from the last couple of games. It
could have been so much worse. That's got to be the positive, Farah, right? Because they found themselves 3-0 down to that Chileta Sarr header in the second half, 3-1 down. And, to come back and rescue a point. But again, sort of mistakes, and they'll be looking at this when they're analysing what went wrung.
Yeah, they'll have to analyse because there was a lot of mistakes. And as Lee mentioned, there was a lot of nerves within this young Arsenal team. I think based on the outcome of the game, I think they have to take a lot of positives from it. If they would have gone away with nothing from this game, it would have been even more disappointing, even more of a lift Arteta would have had to give his players to bounce back for Wednesday night, which is a huge game, which everybody's been speaking about for numerous amount of weeks now. So I think the fact that they showed that character to get those 2 goals back in that period of time towards the end of the game, I think they have lots of positives to take from that. They'll be tired. Their emotions, as Lee mentioned, they will be all over the place. It was a roller coaster of emotions today, for the manager and the players. And I think, maybe silence from the manager in terms of going in there would probably be better, and reassess it overnight, and they go back in, have a day off probably tomorrow, and then they go back in over the weekend and start again and focusing on Manchester City.
Yeah, and look, all the goals came from mistakes, which were so unlike Arsenal this season, Lee, and the third one as well.
It's nerves. You do things on the pitch like this. Partey gets the ball, he takes 1 touch too many, they lose it. The fight's there, there's no problem about that, but it's little things like this. You give the corner away, you don't get in front of the defender, the attacker there. Holding just lets him get in front, and then he flicks it to the far post. Look at Zinchenko. He's got his man, he's looking at him, he's got his arm in the air, he's looking straight at him, and then goes to sleep. He's not a brilliant defender, Zinchenko. He's brilliant on the ball. Positionally, with the ball, Arsenal use him to their strength, but without the ball, we saw he gave the goal away against Liverpool. He let Trent get past him. And there again, you've just got to be alive. You have to be alive being a defender, whether you play midfield or not. That's your job. Keep the ball out the net.
Yeah. And in defensive set plays, that back post position that Zinchenko's in, it's such an important position. You have to be switched on. He looked organised. He was in a set position. That 1 second of switching off to a goal. But it's such an important position in a set piece to defend.
We've seen Arsenal fight to the end on numerous occasions this season. The Aston Villa game obviously springs to mind, Bournemouth as well. And they're not down until it's over. And Martin Odegaard leading from the front with his captain's armband on.
Yeah, I mean, here he is now. He picks it up and he's got one thing in his mind. As soon as he's on his left foot, you've got half a chance of a brilliant cross or he'll hit a target. And his feet are so quick and there's men behind the ball, but there's nothing he can do about that. It just dips nice and early in front of the goalkeeper, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, could they possibly get back into this game? And the way that the crowd got behind him at this point, the energy was with the Arsenal team, Farah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. And Odegaard, he was key in that in terms of the energy that he brought. He led, as a captain, and obviously here you can see Saka coming up with the equaliser, but he led in his second half with his performance, and there's different types of leaders and characters within the game, and he certainly, for me, has demonstrated how to be a captain in terms of his performances, because he took the game by the scruff of the neck in the second half when they went 3-1 down and really tried to make things happen for this Arsenal team. This from the keeper here fumbles it into a good area for Arsenal and a poor area for Southampton, but it's Saka that comes up with the goods there and gets them on level points.
When that goes in, we were all, that's it, they're going to... Well, I certainly was. I was like...
They've got the stoppage at that point, yeah.
And then when that 8 minutes came up, it was like, well, here we go. We've definitely got the impetus now. Southampton looked out for the count, but they couldn't quite get it over the line.
Yeah, still had chances, didn't they?
Yeah.
Trossard and Nelson right to the end. And, you were believing, you were thinking that they could have had another couple of goals in those 8 minutes.
I did believe, yeah. You didn't want me to believe, but I did believe. And I was expecting the crowd to almost draw it into the net. Everybody was out of the seats. And also, the thing is that the emotional strength of a crowd at this point, you can gain so much as a player in those last few minutes. We've seen, the great United sides of the past and some of the Arsenal sides that I played in go to the 90th minute and beyond and get, last-minute winners, and it just wouldn't go in for them.
Just felt like for Jesus, especially tonight, it just wouldn't sit there for him to have that one chance. He had half chances, the ball was sitting there, but it didn't quite fall for him this evening. As you mentioned, we've seen a few chances here and a half chance here from Nelson, but it just wouldn't go in for Arsenal. It just wouldn't go in. It's one of those days, and as I say, that with a draw, and they'll be pleased with that draw, for sure.
That's a massive point for Southampton, by the way. And they'll be looking at that now. They'll be in the dressing room disappointed. And obviously they would have took a point before the game, but they'll be looking at that going, we put absolutely everything into that. And they changed the tactics a little bit. And I think Matt Holland said in commentary about them sitting back a little bit too much and inviting Arsenal on. You kind of not got much choice when you're going against a team that's going to try and win the league and they're 3-1 down. They're going to come at you. So you have to kind of get back towards your own goal a little bit. But they just let it slip at the end. But there's still a brilliant point for them.
And the run that Arsenal have got, Lee, we talked to me before the game, but, after City, they've got Chelsea, they've got Newcastle, they've got Brighton. And I'm not trying to make your evening any worse, but the last Arsenal win at the Etihad was a long time ago. I mean, you were nearly playing, it was 8 years ago.
Yeah, but the thing is, all those fixtures were set last June. They knew who they had to play. Yeah. They've had a brilliant season so far. You can't get away with not playing anybody. You have to play everybody twice. Yeah. So there's parts of the season where you have an easy run and they pick points up then. This is the tough bit now, and this is how you win a title.
Is your belief wavering, though, now after that tonight, after 3 consecutive games? Be honest.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. If you were a betting person, which I'm not, you would say it's City's title all day long. But they've still got that game on Wednesday, and this team, if they can get over the emotional tiredness, the physical tiredness won't bother you at this time in the season. You're tired from Christmas onwards, but the emotional side of it, they can get over that, they can beat City. We know that. We know they've got the ability. But you would expect City to have a little bit too much for him. Yeah. But listen, we didn't expect that tonight, did we? Yeah,
and that's probably the difference, isn't it, between a point and losing the game, though, isn't it? Which we shall see, because I know you're going to be there on Wednesday night, Lee. But we can... So Arsenal 2-1 down at the break on a nightly Dixon, Farrah Williams, where many expected it to be pretty straightforward for them. The worst possible start, 27 seconds. Aaron Ramsdale, what's going on here?
Well, they knew what was coming. They said they were going to get pressed. This is, 15 seconds after the kick-off. And he's under no real pressure. No one's putting him under pressure, so there's no reason to take any chances. And he tries to slip it in between. He could just play either side. The space is behind for Zinchenko to go into, but he doesn't get there, he doesn't put enough on it. But what a finish that is from Alcaraz. He doesn't waste any time in getting it out of his feet. He can't believe he's got the ball, and then he just feints a little bit to his left-hand side, and then that finish there catches everybody by surprise, including the goalkeeper. And it's just a lack of concentration at the start of a game where you think, you know what, we know we're going to be under pressure, but we can deal with it. There's no reason, and you don't have to pass the ball until someone comes and closes you down, and you just got a little bit impatient, which it's a shocking start from their point.
Less than quarter of an hour gone, a familiar face at the Emirates, Theo Walcott doubling the lead, but what a ball, Farrah, from Alcaraz.
Fantastic, and he's had a really good 45 minutes. Just see him here, take it between the lines. It's Holding that goes to put the pressure on. You can see the arrow here, saying Gabriel needs to then cover the space that Holding's left him behind. He doesn't. He tracks Theo Walcott's run, and Theo Walcott's quite clever here. He takes him wider, and it just allows that open pass to split the defenders here. And it's a great finish from Walcott, but it's the initial. It's here. Alcaraz is in loads of space. The moment Holding steps, Gabriel has to cover him, and he doesn't, and he gets split with that pass, and it's a fantastic finish from Walcott and a muted celebration from Walcott, but a terrible start for Arsenal.
When a defender goes into a space to close something down, the spaces behind should get smaller, not bigger, and they get bigger and wider. And Walcott actually points behind exactly where he wants it, and Gabriel can't even see him because he's gone to the wrong side. And he's just pointing in the space. Yeah. Brilliant ball. and the rest is history.
6 minutes later, Martinelli probably went back. Questionable Southampton defending here.
Well, it's just good play. Just look at Odegaard. He's doing everything he can to get in his favourite 10 position, and there he is. Once he's in that space, he can pick any pass he wants, and he's brilliant at this. And we know how good Saka is going onto his left foot, but also round the outside. And the ball that's pulled back. It's a difficult ball to hit, that is. But if you just watch at the top of the screen, Martinelli straight off his left wing. How can I get space? He goes in and then he just checks. Just there, gives him the space. Straight off his laces, a brilliant finish.
15 Premier League goals this season for Gabriel Martinelli. He's been in some form, hasn't he? And Southampton probably busier than they thought they would be in the opposition box because Ramsdale, Farah, forced into a double save from Elyounoussi and Alcaraz. It could have got worse for Arsenal.
It could have, and I think, especially when you go 2-0 down, you're trying to chase the game a little bit, and Arsenal are doing that. It's a great delivery. Again, Gabriel doesn't see Elyounoussi just pulling off on the back shoulder. It's a good header down. I think Ramsdale makes a mill of the initial here, fumbles it a little bit, which allows a second chance. And I think this one's a difficult one and a really good save. Blind side, can't see much of it, and reacts well to it.
Yeah, and there were chances obviously down the other end. Lee, Arsenal had 3 headers, which all came close really, and all really good opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, Odegaard just wanders into the box. He can't believe how much space he's got. Once he gets in there, he should do a little bit better. He's got plenty of time. He gets a little bit underneath it, doesn't get enough on it, and it's over the bar. Gabriel over the... That's a difficult header. He's going over bodies. One of them's his own player holding. Can't get the ball down. He thinks it's close, but it wasn't that close. And then he's off the line by probably man of the match so far, Alcaraz, has the presence of mind.